Now, a lot of people are having questions. Are we about to enter World War III? We're going to go into a global war? What exactly is about to happen? And I want to elaborate and give you a different perspective, and help you see things from a perspective that nobody else is seeing, and what exactly is going to come upon this earth and what we can be expecting. So if you go back to the 1920s, we know that the British pound was the leader global currency. Nobody expected it to fall. Okay, so what happened? American dollar came in and became the ruling global asset of currency for trade. And that was for oil and gas. That was to be traded through American dollars through precious metals and agriculture, anything. And everybody trusted in the American dollar. But what happened? It used to be backed by gold. And then when, JFK, around that time when he was killed, the Federal Reserve came in and now they'd start printing money off of thin air. So it was to absorb inflation. America always was able to absorb inflation for the global markets currency. And they were printing just money out of thin air. It was backed by nothing. So it was to give a control by just printing digital paper greenbacks out of nothing. It was backed by nothing anymore. So it was once a time you could take that dollar and go get some gold for that. Not any longer. So it's just worthless money, so to speak. So what is happening right now? We know that Russia is attacking the global currency. They are a threat to the global market, and they're started making pacts, allies with China, which the yuan is actually a global currency that is rising up really fast. Russia just made a global currency. So they're trying to take back dominance of that global market. So what is going on? We see that they're going to war. They know that America is at a volatile state. It's very shaky right now. Because COVID just came through amongst all kinds of other things, that we're having to raise the federal interest rates to subsidize that rising inflation that is about to collapse the whole entire market. So is the collapse coming? It's possible. Collapse could be coming in so that they institute a new type of currency federally that gives America back in control, that helps hold that place. So they're weaponizing the US dollar right now against Russia. Russia is fighting back. They have most of why is the basic gas prices rising? Because Russia has capitalized on most of the market when it comes to oil and gas. Okay, so they are able to continue to thrive, even though you're hearing things of sanctions, and this is a global crisis. This is a humanitarian crisis. Democracy, this and that. We need American made. We need American oil. Sure. Why? Because you got to hold on to that strength for America, right? But what has happened? Anytime anybody's come against American dollar or currency or challenged it, they made them into enemies. They went to war with them. We have dropped over 300,000 bombs on countries for the last 20 years and nobody's batted an eye. Now, we point the finger at this one's evil, this one's evil. But what about the people that are doing the same thing? We're saying, Russia is controlling the media. That may be true because they don't want them to be brainwashed by Western media, which Western media, if you go to most nations, are controlling every single mind. They're controlling the thoughts. It's on every single TV. You're seeing CNN and Fox News on every single TV. What is the things today? We were just pushing masks and vaccines, and then it switched, and now it's Ukraine, and everybody's merging together in support of it. Think about every single state was, allowing these vaccines to be pushed. And what are they doing? Now America is now making a system. If you have made false information about COVID or anything, they're classifying you in a category to where they're going to go after you, right? So what do you think communist states do? What do you think communist countries do? I'm saying all government worldwide is corrupted one way or another. It's true. But what we're seeing is we're pointing to they're evil. But what has happened anytime somebody's challenged the global or the American dollar and currency? They made them look evil. They pointed the finger, said, you're evil, made them look evil, and they started seizing their assets and putting sanctions, started weaponizing the US dollar. And the countries are tired of that happening. Many people are tired of that happening. India, Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, Turkey. Many of these places are starting to make a central reserve digital currency. So you're going to start hearing a lot of that. Same with crypto and blockchain. As I said long ago, even the fight for oil and gas, they're trying to cut it off. Right now, they're trying to cut it off and make American made, American oil. Instead of us exporting it, we're trying to, or importing it, we're trying to export it so that we hold on to that power. So what is going on? I'm seeing both sides. I see Republicans and Democrats saying awful things. And now, again, is it off? All war is awful. Even back to biblical times where people had to eat their own flesh because they were starving, where people had no food, they had no drink, they had nothing, okay? These are the punishment for not obeying God's laws. God is not evil. Man is evil by seeking greed and corruption and money and power, that they oppress the innocent, end up dying. And it's sad. We should be praying for all nations, whether that's Russia, that's Ukraine, whether that's America, whether that's Iran, it's anyone, even Israel, all nations. We should be praying for the people that God's will be done in all the world, all the nations, and that people come to him. Now we have churches aligning with all these movements, right? We have them aligning with all the movements. They're saying pray for it. They just like they did Black Lives Matter. They did the vaccines. They did the mandates. We're having vaccine drives and COVID testing drives at these churches. Now they're saying pray for Ukraine. They're using it as a tool to capture your emotions, capture your heart, capture your mind. And the same people were just pushing vaccines and censoring people that were speaking the truth on social media, in the news, and basically censoring what they speak by big tech. What does Russia don't like? They don't like big tech. They don't like, even China doesn't like big tech. They don't like these places that are controlled by Western government, which is a Babylon civilization that's brought in all cultures into one, all religions into one. Freedom of religion was Judeo-Christian morals and values, not all religions into one. And every president for years and years and years, whether Republican or Democrat, have been lighting Hindu candles at the White House and instituting all religions, so to speak. Regardless, there's been somebody, a higher power that controls the money. Those who control oil, those who control the US dollar and the money controls the entire world. So think about it. Any nation has challenged it. Now, I love America. I pray for it. I love the people. But there's a haughtiness and a pride that has grown. There has been stealing and robbing and greed and so much evil. Just as spoken in Amos, that God would bring enemies to rise up against his people that have done these things. But then he would judge those nations that brought it down. But he also says, blessed are those who bring down Babylon. So the nation that brings it down, he's going to use. So these are the things we don't see. But now I'm seeing these pastors, even today, and rabbis are saying, oh, somebody donated, $10,000, $100,000. They donated this much money. Why? Because their hearts are greedy. It's still set on gate. They're just showing you, and they're not going to speak about the things that I'm speaking about. Why? Because it won't bring in the dollars, and it's going to cause both sides to be upset. It's going to make people upset because they trust in the arm of man, trust in government. They trust in leaders. They trust in the power of man. They trust in military forces. Rome was brought down in a day. He said Babylon will be brought down in a day. What's going to happen? So you trust in God. So what do I see? I see a fight against global dominance, and Russia is putting pressure. They know that they have a lot of power. And even back with the trade alliance from the global trade wars with China, what did they do? They used to use 90% of the US dollars, and now they're down to 46%, right? So they're relying less on the US dollar. Same with Russia, same with India, same with Iran, same with North Korea. So they're starting to gain an alliance against the Western Babylon civilization. Now, it's sad because I don't ever want to see any nation suffer, be brought down. But the thing is, God is in control. What he allows, he will control it. So what now? We got to put our trust in God and our hopes in him and the city that is to come, and not in this world. So what is coming? I see a fight for a new governance, for a new currency, so to speak, a new revolution, a fourth industrial revolution for currency, and people are trying to capitalize on it. Whether, Russia gets that piece of the pie and its allies, or they're going to keep warring against U.S. and its allies and NATO and United Nations, European unions, to get the piece of that pie until they get what they want. They're going to keep on warring, or they're going to come and take power. They're going to bring it down. You say it will never fall. But even J.P. Morgan, very rich and intelligent people, even said every time the American dollar is used as a weapon, it brings down its power even more. And we're about 15 years, this was a couple years ago, 15 years from collapse, from losing that global dominance. So they're trying to institute something new. World Economic Forum, they're trying to bring in something new, a whole new global reset, so to speak. So what is going on? Babylon will fall in a single hour when people least expect it. And everyone's saying peace, peace, and safety right now. So what should we should be focused on? God, his kingdom. Hearts are yet to fail them of fear what's coming upon the earth. We need to be looking up and go to those people that still have ears to hear and praying for them. Not being confused by everything going on and worrying about what's going on. War is imminent. It's going to happen one way or another, no matter what. It's going to be brought down. So people say, trying to restore America and their nation, wherever they might be. You need to be restoring God's kingdom and focusing on him and restoring people to his kingdom in the relationship with him, so that they'll be delivered from sin, come to the blood, wash in the blood of Jesus, Yeshua, believe in his sacrifice, hold fast to his commandments and his covenants, and not the world. See what I'm saying? So whether war happens or not, it's imminent no matter what, whether now or later in the future. God will allow it to happen. It's in his hands. But there's a fight over global governance right now, and they're just using Ukraine as a tool and getting you focused on all these things. And you have these churches and all these leaders and all these people confused on both sides, Democrat, liberal, Republican, conservative, no matter what, they're supporting and aligning, pray for, but you are seeing the whole picture. You need to be praying for people to come to God's kingdom. What are they praying for? I even seen somebody said this is a David and Goliath issue right now. This is a David and Goliath position. What? It's the same people saying, Chazak, be strong because God goes with you as they're having a concert at the White House. Come on. They're having a concert. There should be on their face and knees praying and crying out to God, not having a concert. It should be silence and weeping and wailing and tearing your garments, not sitting there, tearing your hearts and not sitting there having a concert, hands lifted in the air. It's time to wake up, guys. Return to God with our heart, soul, and mind. Trust in him and not the arm of man. Trust in him and not the world. Trust in him and not governments. You pray for your leaders. Pray for the world to come to God and seek him with our heart, soul, and mind. And if it takes a global collapse for it to happen, watch out. Because then that leader may rise up and bring that peace and safety and put people's focus on the trust that they have in things of the world, lust of the eyes, desires of the flesh, to take comfort and pleasures in the things that you can see. That for your possessions, your materialisms, and a secure life, then destruction may come. Whether now or later, trust in God. Always be ready no matter what. Do not let them confuse you. Do not let them take your mind. Do not let them take your heart. Don't let them confuse you with everything going on and keep you from the relationship with God in that his presence, and keeping focus on him and doing his will. Pray for his will to be done. Shalom. God bless you.